Hello. No, this is not a dream. This is Scott Cherkson, alongside Mr. Ryan O'Regan, Mr. JT McGuire, and also Mr. Robert Leckington. And yes, your dreams have come true. This is Tales from the Film Set, and welcome to Spanglish World Network on Zingo TV, channel 250. Additionally, to make this dream even more of a reality, make sure you download the Zingo TV app on the app stores of iOS and Android devices. If you have a Windows phone, get rid of it. Use an actual good phone. When you download, make sure to rate and leave a comment. Both apps are free. Zingo TV is also available on Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire TV sticks, Roku sticks, and you know what? Pretty much every smart TV 2016 and forward. So anyway, like I said, on to the dream. Gentlemen,
okay, hold on. What part of this is a dream? Like, what part of all this?
Dude.
Also, what qualifies as a bad phone?
What's that?
Also, what qualifies as a bad phone?
Oh, basically, I had the Windows operating system, and I was livid beyond words because of all the things that you could not do with it. For example, it had no ability to email. It had no ability to email a PDF. If I had to send a Word document, I would have to open it up in Word and hit send. There was no attachment manager in the email device itself. And everything ran through Bing.
Oof. No, thank you.
The GPS would have me go from Teterboro to Teaneck via Patterson, Route 80, and the Turnpike. They are literally like one town. Basically, they're 5 minutes apart.
Yeah, that's not good.
So basically, like I said, so I stand by what I said there. Windows, Microsoft, it's your fault. Anyway, so I was actually going to go off on a different tangent to start this off, but apparently I'm going to have to hold on that tangent till later. But this is Tales from the Film Set. We got a bunch of stuff we're going to be talking about tonight. New Spider-Man, the failure of West Side Story, which I guess in some ways is both surprising yet not. Maybe I'll actually talk a little bit about a little roundtable we got about some of the things that we've learned in the filmmaking and film industry world. In the meantime, by the way, you can also find us on Instagram and Facebook at Tales from the Film Set, as well as Twitch on top of that, and YouTube, and also at Film Set Tales on Twitter. So we'll start off with you, Mr. Leckington. How are you, sir?
I'm fine. I'm a little rushed. I had to go to, not Lodi, but I had to go to Garfield to pick up my girlfriend real fast. And so I'm kind of like just here and trying to acclimate myself. And
okay, so you're going to run the show tonight. Got it.
Bragging about his girlfriend. I have someone that loves me. Oh, great. Wonderful.
Got a girlfriend. No, dude, you've been with that woman for like since Dirt was new.
Oh, yes. We've been together for nearly 20 years.
Nice. Respect. So, Mr. O.
What? I got no girlfriend. What do I do?
Magic. You know.
Never really
say so, big go.
Of all the songs that you could date me with, that's the one you picked that far back.
Well, if you want to date a song, you can date that.
Yeah.
At least you're from Ciara, you know, that's a little more modern.
Dude, we're old here, you know, so you might be the youngest one of the bunch. So.
Well, hold on. JT's still younger than me, right?
Is he?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
I still if linear time keeps working the way it currently does.
Well, I don't know. Einstein said time is an illusion, so it is entirely possible with multiverse theory and everything and time travel itself that, in fact, I might be the oldest and simultaneously youngest one here.
Interesting.
Yeah.
In the metaverse.
JT, how are you doing with that knowledge, knowing that you're aging more than he isn't?
I'm not allowed to.
Yeah, I have no comment.
So, all right.
Everybody
moving on very quickly, by the way, we got thanks again to Mr. Leckington for these shirts here, by the way. We're getting a couple of requests here and there. So during the show or afterwards, Rob, I got to talk to you about where you got that from. But yeah, we want to talk a little bit today about Spider-Man because we have a new Spider-Man coming at the end of the week. Also want to talk a little bit. Yeah, it's been a very long window time for that. And like I said, want to talk a little West Side Story on top of it because that is arguably Steven Spielberg's biggest flop ever. So we're going to talk that a little bit first, but in your case, you wanted to talk some Spider-Man. So JT, I'm going to start with you. Thoughts, comments, ideas, and will it succeed? And what does that mean for the MCU?
Oh, that's kind of loaded there. No. I
all
think,
on your shoulders.
Give me 9 things that you absolutely love about it.
No. I think Ryan, you said you actually have a ticket for Thursday, correct?
I've got 2 tickets.
You got 2 tickets?
Oh yeah.
So you're bringing
Oh,
me.
I was
too,
waiting up
correct?
that midnight whenever they went on sale. I went through the queues. I waited. I was there at like 7 minutes before it pushed me back to over an hour. But I waited.
That's right. I remember you saying that.
I got him.
Hmm.
And I'll actually be seeing the first Dolby Digital, at least as far as I know, in Jersey, over at the Aviation Plaza over here in Linden, New Jersey at 3:15. If anybody's watching and is going to come around, do say hi. Me and my guests will be there. I'm trying to help a friend out with like getting out of the house. So, it's one of those things where it's like, I got to get you out because you've been in for a little bit too long. Well, this whole pandemic thing has like made people a little cabin shy. So it's like if I can drag them out for this,
So
this seems like at least a good reason to leave the home.
did you pay top dollar? That's the question.
Aha! I only paid half because technically I am an AMC A-list member, and I can actually count one of those tickets as my free of the 3 I get every week.
Okay.
So you paid top dollar.
Not
for
that
one.
AMC is promoting any of this. I'm just saying. But.
Right.
AMC. You know what? I have to say that AMC theaters are fantastic theaters. The seating, the food choices, the movies, the films, the staff, everybody at AMC is just unbridled top notch. You can't have A without AMC.
I have my qualms about the dine-in, obviously, being a former employee, but still.
I haven't been to a Cinemark yet, but I hear that they're pretty amazing as well. So.
Oh yeah, there's that one over in Scotch Plains. Right?
What were you saying, Ryan?
I said there's the one in Scotch Plains that I think JT's been to the one in Scotch Plains, haven't you? With like the reclining seats and everything.
Oh.
If I have, I can't remember. I've been to many movie theaters. I'm actually Thursday. It's not Thursday. It's on a midnight showing. It actually debuts on Thursday, so you could go to a matinee on Thursday, correct?
Yes. So, and the AMC is still doing their pricing, so you can have the 25 or 30% off if you go see a showing of Spider-Man before 4 p.m.
Now, I don't think
so
this
like
will
a
happen
matinee.
again, but when The Force Awakens came out maybe 5-6 years ago now,
Mhm.
I remember they didn't anticipate how many people would actually want to go see this. So at the very last second, they pretty much removed some of the movies that were playing and added more screenings for Star Wars. So I ended up very last second with a ticket with a pretty much empty theater for Star Wars Force Awakens.
Nice.
So
they've done exactly the same thing, because when I was going for the tickets before, it was only like a few showings per theater format. So there was IMAX, Dolby, and obviously standard viewing. But now there's like the same ones for the Dolby and the IMAX. The entire rest of the theater, all the normal screens, Spider-Man. I think you may have like one West Side Story, one Venom, Let There Be Carnage, and that's probably about it.
So with that in mind, I have one beat up theater within driving distance of my house. My hope is that I find one cheap last second ticket for probably Thursday morning.
You can do it.
The theaters are anticipating something like this. They have been waiting. This may not save the theater going experience for the year 2021, but this will be probably the final big shot in the arm that's needed. This will be the booster that the theater units have needed all year round. And this coinciding with the Christmas format of all these theater and family going films coming out the week after, this is what it needs.
So you can feel nauseous for 4 days afterwards?
Hopefully not. Actually, early reviews right now are very positive for Spider-Man. So it looks like it is going to live up to the hype. Or if not the hype, it's a good movie. So I, who have not gotten the booster yet, and I am like anyone who talks to me knows I'm kind of a paranoid person when it comes to COVID. I'm still willing to go into this madness to see this film.
It's like, if anybody that knows me, I'm the kind of person that doesn't like to go out and deal with people, but I will hack and slash through crowds to see this. No. That's my JT impression.
Yes, pretty much
for themselves. So.
Out of my way.
Anyway, move. So
I must see Tobey Maguire.
I must see Tobey Maguire.
Comic book character.
Tom Holland. So,
but I've got to ask Robert, because I mean, obviously Scott and JT and I, we have this whole geekiness about us. Robert seems to be like the most straight-laced out of all four of us.
I think so.
What does Spider-Man coming out into theaters mean to you?
Well, it'll be a good Marvel movie for people to see. I don't know. I like I said, I think in a previous episode, I think I had spoken about the fact that I had seen the first couple Spider-Mans.
Mhm.
So with Tobey Maguire, you know, Spider-Man 1 and 2, whatever.
Who
But-
may or may not be in this one, we cannot say.
Boy, they're not.
Okay.
They're keeping that shit. The
Yeah.
secret.
So
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with Tom Holland. I don't know who Tom Holland is, but I'll definitely check this film out.
He's the guy that made hollandaise sauce.
I'm sorry. No. I'm sorry. Just Robert saying he doesn't know who Tom Holland is. That's
I
like
don't.
I
I'm
just
sorry,
saw a
I'm not a
TikTok
geek
the
like
other
you.
day where it's like this mom wanted her daughter to get a picture of her with Keanu Reeves, and the daughter's doing a TikTok instead of taking the
Yes.
picture, and she's like, "I don't know who Keanu Reeves is. I don't know who
Yeah.
this is," and it's really him in the picture. It's not like one of those fraudulent people. It's him and the mother taking a picture.
You,
And
you know
she's
what?
like, I still don't know who he is.
I saw that. I saw that TikTok. You know what I love about it? I love the fact that she was trying to make fun of her mother for being out of touch and not knowing things, and proved how much she's out of touch and not knowing things.
It's like, yeah, the
It's
guy
like,
from
the
John
man's
Wick.
got a movie next week. Trust
Yes.
me, people know him.
Tom Holland.
But yeah, that
know
makes
him.
Robert sound so Gen Z. So it's like
I know who-
Tom Holland. Who's that? Old
I know
man?
who
don't
Tom
know.
Holland is now.
I know Holland
He created
Taylor,
Holland
a
Tunnel.
great female actress, sure,
The
but
Holland
I don't
Tunnel.
know.
Yeah, he's the British guy that tried to hug Robert Downey Jr. in 2 movies, succeeded in 1. Or actually, he was hugged by Robert Downey Jr. in 1.
Okay.
Yes, for some people that's a feat.
Yes. Well, they didn't hug with their feet though.
No,
But it's curious to see what's going to end up happening with this, because it's Marvel Phase 4 has not exactly been a profitable venture, either in the theaters or even with Disney Plus, and this is their chance to A, be able to turn that around, and B, maybe set a tone for the future, because Lord knows there's a lot of MCU stuff coming next year that maybe they can learn something from this if it ends up being financially successful. I don't know how much Disney/Marvel/MCU are banking on its success or praying for its success. But I almost wonder if somehow, in some weird way, this movie gets trashed and flops. Just play a hypothetical. What would that mean for the MCU? Let's hypothetical. What would that mean for the MCU?
that would mean 2 things in my mind. That would mean going back to the drawing board and really restructuring everything that they have planned out for the next few years, whether it be on Disney Plus for the television shows or anything big screen wise. And 2, this would be almost, I would say devastating, not just for Disney, but also for Sony and their Spider slate, considering this is, regardless of whether or not it connects to the MCU, this is a Sony film.
Mm-hmm.
This is them trying to use Spider-Man in just the MCU while they're still building up their, dark, universe over there with Morbius and Venom and all that.
Mhm.
So if this flops, this almost gives Disney. I don't know if this gives them any reason to keep on with Spider-Man, especially considering the contract's supposed to be ending and there's no confirmation whether or not he's re-signed. So this might be the end for a good while of Spider-Man.
So
Do you think this could
it's gonna open
The end
then?
of Kevin Feige.
No. It's far from Feige. The thing that people don't have to understand about MCU Phase 4 so far is that Phase 4 so far has pretty much almost, in a sense, been like Phase 1. When was the last time we had a true-to-life origin movie in the last few years? Probably Black Panther, and even then we were introduced
Captain
to him
Marvel.
in Civil War.
Captain Marvel.
Eternals was essentially an origin film. Shang-Chi, essentially an origin film. Black Widow, whether it's a character we've already been established with, was essentially an origin film. We've been inundated with a lot of base without a lot of sequels. So there's been very little for fans to grab onto. Spider-Man is really the first character that we've gotten that is universally grab-onable, which sounds really bad when I say it like that, but you get what I'm saying.
By the way,
Verb.
something I didn't think about till today is kind of a shame they didn't name the MJ of this universe Mary Jane Watson, because I would have loved for Doctor Strange to go, let's go, Watson.
Oh, Sherlock.
Yeah,
Yes.
very, yeah. Well, see, you've
It
already
was
got Martin
good enough
Freeman.
that in the
Martin Freeman's
Destination
in
of
this universe.
Smog, we essentially had Sherlock fighting Watson.
You have Martin Freeman in this universe. I forget what
Yes.
he played, but
Yes.
Yeah, all we need to do is get him and the Doctor together and see if they like just eyeball each other.
Actually, the other Watson was in this universe too, wasn't he? For Captain Marvel,
well, it
Wait.
depends. I mean, John C. Riley. played
the
Watson.
film version of Watson, played by
Jude Law, yes.
yeah, because he was in Captain Marvel. He was the bad guy of Captain Marvel.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
unfortunately,
also
we couldn't get a Robert
John
Downey
C.
Jr.
Riley
cameo on
also
that
played
one.
Watson in that Will Ferrell Will Ferrell
Yeah,
comedy.
that's
I
right.
recall.
All right.
So John C.
Yeah.
Riley.
Oh no,
although
no!
he probably
I'm telling you
confirmed-
right now, if John C. Riley or Will Ferrell get put into the MCU somehow,
that
No,
movie apparently
no,
did
I'm
not do
done,
well in the
I'm
box
done.
office either.
I will go to DC.
Very bad. We try not to talk about the movies. We pretend it never existed.
Hey, you know what? We got to go to Malibu Comics because they had Street Fighter back in the 90s. So. Dude, okay, Malibu Comics had a character called the Ferret. You know what kind of basically quibbles you got to have to create a superhero character called the Ferret?
I mean, DC has Weasel, so
Do you realize that even though she's no longer a joke, that Squirrel Girl was a joke in Marvel Comics?
That is true, yes.
oh yeah, no, they were going to live action her. I think they may still be working on that. I think the girl from the AT&T commercials or Verizon commercials, whichever one it is,
Really?
they were looking at her to be cast.
Oh, the Russian
Sure,
girl.
I
whatever
think
it-
she
or
could play a
Lily?
good one.
Yeah, I think she could do a Squirrel Girl. The whole thing with Squirrel Girl is like the teeth. You really got to nail the teeth. Because otherwise, it could go from natural to goofy in an instant.
Mhm.
And then no one's going to take her seriously just by looking at her with like the buckiness.
You're talking about Lily from AT&T, I guess?
Yeah, okay, yes, it is AT&T.
Yeah,
Yes.
I forget what she's a Russian woman. I can never remember her name though.
Scott sent us a picture. Can I ask for us to put this picture into
I
full screen?
just asked Eduardo to do
Go
that.
ahead.
If you can do that, please. I
I-
want to be able,
the world must see this.
the world must see. Yeah, like I said, this is the character, the Malibu Comics, the Ferret, and unfortunately, I got Eduardo. Please, just, yeah,
Oh,
all
I'm
right.
going to regret this. All right.
Yeah, you are.
Wait,
But yeah,
wait,
suffice it to
maybe
say,
I could
the
put
bird-
it. Can I put it up behind me?
Sure,
Maybe I
please.
could do that.
If it saves time, sure, I'll do it. So,
There we go.
can you zoom that by any chance?
Actually, I think I can.
All right, so basically that's the character, the Ferret, of Malibu Comics. You can see basically. Oh, that's perfect. Thank you, dude.
Oh, that is so 90s.
Yeah, but
Oh,
also
wow.
maybe some sort of a Kingpin-esque character there. But yes,
I
there.
thought that was the Kingpin for a second.
It
With
looks
long blonde hair.
Yeah, long blonde hair. He's got
Oh,
like
they all
the
had long
green
blonde hair back
leggings.
Oh, I identify with Mr. Clean there.
Yeah, but you got
Yeah.
Robert, you are the villain.
you got the weird blue guy down at the bottom too. But
Oh, yes.
weirdly enough, they actually did a crossover between the Ferret and Street Fighter, where he fought E Honda.
What?
Yes, and it was only the 3-issue Malibu Comics, which was panned, but I didn't hate it as a kid.
I'm sorry,
And-
no. Let's see. He's got a 90s Robin mask, 90s Thor hair. The orange and green screams Aquaman.
It looks like a thong, man.
What part of this says ferret?
I know that's what I'm saying, man.
That's crazy.
And
Dude,
ninjas. There's ninjas.
oh yeah, those always has to be ninjas.
Watch, in like 10 years when they've exhausted all the characters, this thing is going to get a movie.
Yeah, you probably will. Yeah.
Maybe on
in
HBO
fact-
Max, but it's going to get a movie.
Or I was gonna say, would it actually get to HBO Max, or would it be like, I don't know, public access?
I don't know. It depends on what streaming networks are left at that time.
Wayne's World type public access.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
Ferret, saving time, excellent.
Yeah, it's got Dana Carvey in the blonde wig again. Let him play the ferret.
That would work. Yeah. So,
There you
by the way,
go.
thank you, JT, for doing that. God, you were my go-to with that. I'm so happy you had that ability to
No
do
problem.
that. And that
All
was
right.
great. That was a great fade out too that you had.
With the dust covering my lens.
Okay, before we go in completely insane here,
Oh.
while Scott's fixing that. Now, Spider-Man being what it's going to be coming out into theaters, obviously, there's a lot of talk about it possibly being the big number runner, not just for this weekend, but possibly for the whole year. However, I do have to talk about the movie that may have gotten heavily hurt by Spider-Man, and that's West Side Story that came out just this past weekend. $100 million movie musical. Spielberg, the first time he's ever done a musical, and it made $10 million on its opening weekend.
Oh, that sucks.
Still number one at the box office, so you can have that claim, but only 10 million.
Yeah.
And I have to believe that it's nothing against the quality of the film. I'm sure Spielberg did a great thing with it. I just didn't watch it myself because I don't have the interest of seeing what is essentially a polished version of something I've seen already plenty of times, either on video or elsewhere. But I have to
No.
believe that this is kind of like what has happened with other MCU films that were heavily hyped up, whether it be Infinity War or Endgame or any of the big ones that we've had in the last few years, where the movies that come out the weekend before almost do nothing at the box office because everyone's saving their money
Right.
for the following week. And I think now in a post-COVID world where we know that the box office, the movie theater isn't the only place we can go to for entertainment, the box office itself has become now exclusively a luxury. Not just the Dolby, not just the IMAX, but the box
Well,
office itself.
tickets themselves, though, those tickets, the ticket prices for movies these days, they've gone up as well. So
Yeah, and they're only going to go up more because the theater chains are going to try to like recoup their losses, even though
Yeah.
they've been bailed out more times
Exactly.
than probably auto companies.
But
But
you see, okay, so do you gentlemen have live television, cable, antenna TV? Do you
Yeah.
watch TV on a regular basis?
Yeah. Well,
So
no,
have
no,
I
always
personally
do myself
don't.
next day.
I stream. I have a streaming platform, and I pretty much watch like movies, that type of thing. But I do have that capability of being able
Well,
to stream.
what I'm
local-
asking is, do you have you guys seen commercials for West Side Story, like on a regular basis?
No.
Yes.
I've seen commercials on YouTube.
On a regular basis.
Depending on the shows that I
Moderately, yes.
watch, yes.
Moderately, yes.
I haven't seen any. The
Hmm.
only advertisement I've seen for West Side Story is that big billboard right next to the Lincoln Tunnel. That is the only
I've never seen
advertisement I can remember for West Side Story that I've seen. I knew it was coming out, but I knew very little about it. I didn't.
Right.
It wasn't.
I
It was
saw
on my social
like
media.
I saw like advertisements on YouTube or on Facebook or something like that. I didn't really see any billboards or anything. I don't really watch that much TV, so I don't, didn't really see anything on TV for it myself personally.
But so I don't think Spider-Man really heard it. I think it's the fact that it wasn't really advertised very well, in my opinion. Not to mention it wasn't. No one was really begging for another West Side Story. I mean, the 1960s version was pretty much a classic, and I don't know if you could really top that one. So, like, why are you going to see a remake of another film? Well, I hate to say it, a director I love, but one who hasn't really been overly impressive the last few years.
Ooh.
That's Well,
Ooh.
listen, he's.
Oh,
he's not-
I mean,
geez,
here,
ready for
listen.
battle.
He came up with Ready Player One, which I was very excited for, and I hate to say it, while it was very Steven Spielberg, I wasn't overly impressed with that, and it hasn't made me excited to see any of his future projects.
Well, they did film in New Jersey, so that's a good thing.
in Patterson, yes.
Yeah,
A lot of it.
Patterson, parts in Newark. I heard. I'm not sure of that, but I heard.
I mean,
Well,
but-
if you're looking for dated and dilapidated, yes, Patterson will do that for you.
Yeah,
there's been a lot of
someplace
films.
New York's been getting
A lot
better.
of films were shot in Patterson.
yeah.
I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I know they're there.
That movie where that person was in it. So
That dude,
There
that guy,
was a
he
Brooke
was in that.
Shields horror film from the 1970s. I can't remember the title of it, but that's like the first thing that pops
It's the
in my head.
birthplace of Lou Costello. That's the only thing I give it credit for.
well, let me ask you this. I don't know if you guys actually covered this, and if you did, let me know. But for a $100 million budget that was West Side Story, it has barely cracked over 10 million.
Yeah.
We did mention that, yes.
Okay, now I have another theory again. I'm not sure if you mentioned this, and I apologize, I got popped off. Was Cats mentioned at all?
I can't say so. No, I can't imagine that Cats as a musical would do anything for this, because Cats in itself is just so bizarre
But
that
my
I don't
point
think
is
it's
that
necessarily
Cats
something that would hurt
fa-
musicals. It
Cats
might
failed.
hurt, you know, certain types of like surrealist films,
N-
you know, high concept to ever
Yeah.
get made again, unless it's under a Marvel or like a comic book banner. But I can't say that would hurt musicals, would it?
I don't think Cats would have heard a musical. Like you said, it's very, very bizarre. But there was another musical that came out just a few years ago with why am I so bad with names
Well, there was
tonight?
into the Woods and Les
Oh,
Mis. too.
La La Land, right?
La La
La La
Land,
Land.
yes. How did La La Land do?
Very
I know
well.
it got
It
I know
won
it got
Oscar.
nominations, but how did it do budget wise in this theaters?
I think fairly well.
La La
Yeah.
Land fared well, yeah. I think even if you just look at this year, I think it still comes down to the fact of people wanting to spend the money to go to the box office, because aside from Disney's Encanto, which just came out like a couple of weeks ago, and that in itself is a musical, well done musical by Lin-Manuel Miranda. But he also had In the Heights come out earlier this year in the summertime. And that also was critically lauded, but as far as the box office, not so much. Now, mind you, you could say that that's partially because it was also being shown on HBO Max at the time.
Hmm.
But you know, between that and now the Disney, and that which had a decent opening, actually a bigger opening at 40 million than West Side Story did. But now you just have this, and it's like, I don't know if people are in the mood for musicals in general when they have other options.
Good.
I think to get to the point that you want to go to a theater to see something with a crowd, it really has to be a big budget action thing. It has to be something that really grips you. Like with Spider-Man, I think the big thing that's making people want to see it is the fact that they've been so secretive about the involvement of the other Spider-Man. So you're going because you want to see the other Spider-Man that are going to be in the film.
Theoretically.
But if you knew Tobey Maguire was going to be in it and Andrew Garfield was going to be in it, and they had him in all the advertising for over the last 6 months, would you be as excited to go see this film as you are at the moment?
I mean, even earlier this week, the head of Sony was saying that they wanted the villains to be secretive instead of those getting out. And for all we know, there may still be more villains coming out in this thing other than the 5 that we've seen. But you know, it's that becomes the point where if you're going to go ahead and you're going to actually shell out your hard-earned money nowadays, it's not going to be just a casual film for the heck of it. You're either going for a spectacle, or you're going because word of mouth of other people have told you, hey, you've got to see this, and the only place you can see it is in the theater.
Let me ask you this question. Do you think, I mean, by the way, La La Land did $450 million on $30 million budget. So
Wow.
a decent return. You know, made it manageable.
And heralded by Orion. Go Ryans.
Nice. Oregans, unite. But in this case here, I almost wonder, doing it so close to Christmas during the holiday that's happening right now, could that be something that also hurt this a little bit? If this was put into a different time of year, released into something where people are not looking so much towards Christmas and towards money and all the things involved, would this have done better at the box office?
Springtime, sure.
I guess say who here among us is really a fan of these type of films. I think if you asked one of them, like if we had say Gina Rodriguez on our program tonight, she probably could say a little better whether this would have fared a little better depending on the time of the year. But I think us, I don't know.
I do
enjoy
like musicals. I always have.
I have nothing against them.
I am a fan of musicals.
Chitty
but
bang bang.
Okay, there is. I am.
Sounds
totally-
Are these the type of film? So you gentlemen would say these are the films that would appeal to you, and you would go to the theater any other time of year to go see.
Oh, I wouldn't go to the
If it was something I haven't seen,
eventually.
Like, before I actually got to see Phantom of the Opera on stage, I saw the movie version with Gerard Butler because I was so interested in wanting to watch it. So, it was the first way I got a feel for it. West Side Story, on the other hand, which in itself is a remake of Romeo and Juliet, to do just a polished version and still keep it where it's, the Jets and the Sharks, and to still keep it in that era, and to still keep it with those, racial divides. What am I going to go there for? That's going to be like, oh, well, this is different.
What was a remake going to add to again the one from the 1960s? I don't
Right.
think you could improve upon it. I thought that was a perfect film.
Now, if it had been something, now if Spielberg had opted to do something that hasn't been put to film yet, like say Wicked. Let's say Spielberg decided
That's
to
on
do
the way,
Wicked.
though, apparently.
Well, yeah, it's getting
But
a
if-
movie version, but let's say if Spielberg had done Wicked, that would have been something spectacular to see.
Yeah.
Because we know he can do fantasy and adventure of that nature as well. To actually put him in the Wizard of Oz universe.
Do you know what we need, though?
Cameron.
We still don't have it yet. This bothers me a little bit.
What?
Book of Mormon.
No way Spielberg's going on Book of Mormon.
No, but you know what? We do not have. We had the producers. You know, we got West Side Story here. We had Les Mis, Phantom, Into the Woods. We've had also Cats, of course, too. But you know, you could maybe you can pull something off with Book of Mormon. Granted, yes, Spielberg will not be involved, but I would see what is it, Robert Hernandez, the guy from Avenue Q.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah,
Cameron.
I mean, he
We get Avenue
he
Q as a
collaborated with
musical.
Trey and Matt to make this anyway. You know, I can
Let's
see
get like
that
someone
kind
who's
of
done like a Sesame Street or a Muppets movie and do Avenue Q.
He
But,
The
did.
people
know-
that did the Happy Time Murders. Give them a redemption.
Ugh.
Sometimes a musical is good on stage. It doesn't really translate very well to film. You brought up the producers. I hated the musical version of the producers on film. Like I love the
I like
original
that one.
version, but I hated like I don't know how you can't call it a remake. I guess it's the musical version.
All right, so
But
yeah,
either
let
way,
me
I
back this up.
did not like it.
We had Gene Wilder and Zero Mostel and Kenny Mars.
Yep.
And then you
Mhm.
had Nathan Lane, Matthew Broderick, and I forget who for the Broadway
Will
version. Well, no, the Broadway version. And then you had
Well, in the film, I think Will Ferrell played the Nazi.
Yes, but in the Broadway version, it was somebody else whose name escapes me right now.
Oh, I couldn't tell.
But
I
yeah, the
mean,
first
there was
one.
obviously some changes made from the movie to the film. Obviously, like the character of LSD
Mhm.
wasn't included, and his, making the musical funny. Instead, they went a different way with it.
Mhm.
So at least I can say they did make changes with that. And that made the musical a little bit more interesting than the main film, especially when you think about all the new songs that were added. And really, the original only had Springtime for Hitler,
Yeah.
which is a great song, regardless of the subject matter.
Well, I mean, like I said, I'm very surprised. I mean, I liked the Nathan Lane, Matthew Broderick movie version. I really did.
Mhm.
Also,
get that.
I liked Enchanted. I'll say that too. I like musicals in general. So this West Side Story, when it comes to something that it doesn't require a $20 ticket, I'll probably take a look at it. But I don't know. I mean, like I said, my take on it is that it probably is very good, but I think you guys are right. It's already rehashing something that's already there. It's an unnecessary reboot.
Yeah, I mean, again, critically, it's being lauded, and now the legacy of Spielberg has been cemented to the fact that he can make any kind of film he wants.
Oh yeah.
He's pretty much done it all, and this is like the final nail in that coffin. But does that necessarily mean it's something that people want to see? I
Apparently
don't think
not.
so. But I don't think this is a movie that's not going to make its budget back.
Yeah, it might eventually.
not at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it may be over a few years. Yeah, but again, could that tarnish the legacy of Steven Spielberg if he has a couple more flops?
I don't think so.
If he has a few more flops, yes.
Yeah, it's too early to
Um,
say.
Flops as he actually had.
Yeah, this is a bad flop, but when you're Steven Spielberg, it's like it's just one little dent in the armor.
That's why I said
If
2
he
or
gets
3. 'Cause
more
you
like
absorb the
this-
hit now.
It almost makes me wonder if Spielberg, after this, is going to go back to the tirade he had about how streaming networks are messing up the movie-going experience. now that
that's pretty
he's
much
only
any
got
He's
movie.
not
10
wrong,
million
though.
off of his latest work.
He's not wrong. I mean, a lot of us would rather.
Doesn't
just
he
sit
have
on-
a deal with Apple?
Yeah, no, he did that shortly after. That's what I found funny about it.
Yeah.
But I
So
guess Apple
yeah, I
doesn't
don't
count
think
as
he's going to
streaming,
go after that.
even though
He
it's got
also-
a plus sign after it.
He also had a TV show that he was producing and occasionally directing too, called Public Morals. It only lasted one season. It was a cop thing from the 1960s. Me and Chris Cullen actually kind of got to know each other from that.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Didn't he also
we
used
knew-
to do
we
Amazing
knew each
Stories?
other, but we never spent a ton of time together until that. So
Yeah, Spielberg was a part of Amazing Stories.
Mhm.
I don't know if he was sole part, but
Yeah.
I think it was
Twilight-
like him and Zemeckis.
Yeah, Twilight Zone too. I think he did.
Let's not also forget Animaniacs, Tiny Toon Adventures.
Freakazoid.
Okay, Freakazoid, sure.
Any
Hysteria.
animation from the 1990s
Hysteria,
with
so
WB.
whichever way you say it.
Hysteria, Tiny Toon. We're tiny. We're tiny. We have it.
Yeah, I mean, the man. Is there anything he hasn't done at this point?
Video game.
A successful musical.
Ooh.
Out.
Oh,
Has he
again,
done
send all of your hate mail to JT McGuire in Madison, New Jersey.
Yes. But has he? I was going to say, has he done any video games?
I believe he has. Well, he did Player One. Can we count that?
I mean, a video game.
Like, has he
I'm
actually
curious.
produced a video game?
Yeah.
It's possible.
See, now I got you guys thinking here.
Hmm.
Yeah, but let's be honest. Like, if he did produce a video game, like his movies are long enough as it is. You actually want him to make something that could be like 40 hours long?
You guys basically said he's done everything. That would qualify as the ever. You know, it would be almost like the EGOT of being a director.
Oh, I mean, no, not that I can think of, unless his
Yeah.
company has actually produced something. But I don't. Maybe something when he was helping out with George Lucas, and maybe something was done under LucasArts, but nothing that comes to mind.
He actually technically did. There is a movie called Steven Spielberg's Director's Chair, which was released to Windows and Mac in 1996. He was
I
the
don't know if we
director
can count
of
that.
Yeah, no. Compare that to like a Final Fantasy VII. I think one's more of a game than the other. But yeah, if he could actually produce something like, say, like a Cyberpunk or an Uncharted or
That's what I'm
something
saying.
with like a rich narrative to it, then sure. But
Sure.
you know, I mean, if he hates streaming that much, I really can't see him getting into the video game realm.
I mean,
I know
had
he
movies-
likes video games. He used to have an
Yes.
arcade. I remember when I was a kid, they would show him playing his like little arcade in his house. So I know he's a video game fan. But
He's had movies turned into video games. I think of basically
don't-
Jaws on the NES. That's his phone franchise that he created.
Well, don't forget Jurassic Park and hitting that slew of games.
E.T. You know. That's the,
Oh no! The less we talk about ET, the better.
Dude, here's the thing. I give the programmers a lot of credit. They made a game soup to nuts in like 4 to 5 weeks. Even if the game was crap, for what the hours and overtime they did, they deserve a lot of respect for even getting that done in time.
I've played that game so many times when I was younger on my sister's old Atari. I
Yep.
still don't know what I was supposed to do.
I
All I
beat
did
that
was
one.
raise the neck, lower the neck, raise the neck, lower the neck. That's it.
Get out of a pit, fall right back into the pit again.
Yeah. there was something with like a speak and spell and a flower. That's all I know.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
It-
aging myself.
Yeah,
Again.
you had to find the pieces of speak and spell deep inside the pit, and then you had to go to a specific spot, call home, and then go to another spot.
And
when
your
the time
life
was-
counter ran out so quick. Look, E.T. didn't even die that quickly in the movie, and by all points, he should have.
Whoa,
There was
I don't
like
think
no
he
way
died
he was
in the
like,
movie.
making that game.
I don't think I've ever seen E.T. Oh God! You all right, Ryan?
how do we delete him off this? So Rob, listen, you've been putting in a lot of great time here, and thank you for your year of service. But I'm sorry, I'm afraid we're gonna have to let you go. Why?
I wish you the best
You've
though
never
on
seen
your
it.
future endeavors.
No problem.
Good luck on your future endeavors. We're offering
E.T. was
we're offering you
the-
0
was the
weeks.
nail in my coffin, then I guess it's probably time.
It's okay. By the way,
To be
Ryan
honest,
is
I don't
still-
think I've seen it since I was
Ryan.
5 or 6, so I don't remember
Ryan.
most of it.
Ryan is still dead. What does he have that we can
Ryan.
steal from him? Does he have money? Can we reach up there? Okay. Yeah. Hey, look at that! I revived him.
You got the touch.
I got
Even
the
that revival was
power.
better than the E.T. game.
It'll be okay, Ryan. I'll watch it this weekend just because you told me to.
Well, basically, but by the way, you don't have to. Additional
That
fun
movie
fact.
came out the day I was born, man. Come on.
I think everybody actually knows.
Hey,
that
when you were
there's supposed to be a
born, I was
sequel to
probably
it,
like 15 years old. So
too. That's got me curious on something here. What movie was released on our birthdays? So But anyway,
Well, I
talk
know for
I
about
sure
looked
mine
this up
was
once. It
E.T..
wasn't anything good. I was born on a Friday, so something definitely came out on my birthday,
because you were born.
but it wasn't really any good. If it were 2 months later, it would have been my favorite film of all time, which sucks. Back to the Future.
Well, I was born on a Monday, and apparently a very rainy Monday. So I'm pretty sure actually there's no movies that came out that day.
Well, the weekend I was born on a Sunday, but that weekend,
Oh, Blue Lagoon.
Oh,
I know, lovely me. But that's why I own that movie. I've been on the ride back when they had one at Universal Studios. My family actually made sure that when we went on the ride, that I actually sat in the front middle seat, so that this way I was the one that had ET in front of me in the basket
Nice.
while we were going through the thing.
That's cool.
Yeah, how we never had a picture of that. It's like I still gripe about it to this day, and I'm like, why didn't you take a picture? And they're like, I didn't know.
Well,
we only had Polaroids back then, and Polaroids cost money.
She
was
would
the
say that.
that was the type of ride that they would take the photos though, and then like you'd have to like download it, or you'd have to
We
like
Pay $5 to get that one image.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Take a picture of the picture. That's the
Yeah.
best way to do it.
yeah. Well, that's
Yes.
kind of what I did with one of the.
But yeah, Scott,
Right,
what was
right.
the movie of when you were born?
actually, I was born. I didn't find anything on that day because I was born on a Monday.
Well, of that weekend, of that,
Uh,
your mother would have been in labor that weekend.
allegedly, yes. Let's see.
I mean, I would hope. I'm not saying she went for the whole 48 to 72 hours, but.
September 19th.
And Robert, do you know yours?
I'm looking it up right now.
Let's see.
Uh,
I got
So seriously, JT, nothing was released on your birthday?
I said Blue Lagoon, but Rambo First Blood Part 2 was #1 in the box office at
Okay.
that time.
I mean, it's not the best
Well-
Rambo, but it's a good one.
well, it's the one that had the ending
Uh,
changed from the book.
Fletch came out that period of time. The first Beverly Hills Cop was out around that time.
Ooh,
I don't.
Fletch.
I
Oh
don't.
my God! Did you guys know that they're making a third Fletch?
Yes, I've heard that. Kevin
Really?
Smith was involved in that.
That was like a decade ago.
I know they're getting John Hamm, I think, to play the lead role instead of Chevy Chase.
Oh, here we go. Basically, the week before I was born, there was a Disney movie, The Boy Who Talked to Badgers.
Are you sure it wasn't ferrets?
No, the young boy gets along better with the animals and they befriends, his family's Canadian farm than he does with the people he lives with.
So
I don't even think I've
that's
heard
the movie
of it,
that
though.
came out the weekend you were born.
Yeah,
It
starring
was the
Christian,
70s.
Christian Jutner is the.
so, all
He's
right.
also from Return from Witch Mountain. Remember that movie? I saw that as a kid.
On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Oh,
Nice.
wasn't it
That's
that?
Lazenby, right?
That was the Lazenby one, yeah.
That was the Lazenby, yes.
His one and done. People were like, "Yeah, bring back Sean Connery, please."
Yeah,
Was that the day you were born or the weekend you were born?
that's on the day that I was born. So I was born on a Friday.
You personally being born almost killed the James Bond franchise.
That or that means Robert should have moved to England and been British. You know?
Also, but yeah, we got to figure out who's the new Bond. Have we figured that out yet?
No word yet. They said they won't be talking anything until the new year.
Okay.
So that'll be the next story, and hopefully, probably by I guess April, they'll probably make some sort of decision, because if they are going to get started on a new movie, they're going to have to start sometime later on in 2022.
Is there going to be a casting show that's going to piss off like Nerdrotic or Critical Drinker or Clownfish?
At this point, it could be anybody.
Yeah.
really.
My vote's still for Iris Elba.
Yeah,
I can get sold with that.
I can see it, Idris Elba.
He's already going to be Knuckles, man. We don't need him to be that OP.
Dude, he's very marketable though right now.
He's already British anyway, so
He's
yeah.
Black Superman. You know, come on.
But
He
I mean,
really
they,
is
killed, they,
Black
killed, they
Superman.
killed him off in Thor, so. It's not like
Yes,
some-
but he had a good run of movies,
He did, yeah.
and now
But,
he's DC's Bloodsport,
Yeah.
which terrible
that's
name.
right.
but
Yeah,
awesome
in
outfit.
the remake.
Oh my god.
I haven't seen that remake yet though. That's Suicide Squad.
You know what? Here's something I'm going to say. I've had 2 people now say to me that they have not seen the Suicide Squad. See the Suicide Squad. It is good. Not
I've
just
heard
like
it's better.
good for that type of film. It is legitimately good.
Well, the film industry's going to shut down in a week and a half, so I'm going to have
I
more
love
time.
the fact that Pete Davidson dies early.
Mhm. Anytime you can kill an
Why
SNL
did you
character,
say
you're happy.
Why did you say that? There are people out here that didn't see it yet. Why did you say that?
I didn't know that, but now I
Look,
do.
if you look at the marketing of this movie, if you look at any of the trailers, you know he's not surviving.
Is it like the well, that was the problem. With the trailer.
It's one of the few films where I don't want to say any spoilers because it will ruin the film legitimately.
Well,
You really
Jared
gotta see
Leto. Jared
Pete
Leto's
Davidson
Joker
dies!
supposedly was probably
No.
like what? No, the method acting that he used in that particular character, from what I hear, because I haven't seen it either. Now that you've said to go watch it, I will
I
watch
can come forward. I can get out of that, that Suicide Squad
Okay.
closet there.
But Jared Leto's performance as the Joker in that particular film was supposedly top notch. So
That's the bad
According
one.
to Jared Leto's mom.
yeah,
Don't see the
That's
one
the
with
bad
him in
one.
it.
Yeah, the only thing I liked about that was the mouth. But I mean,
That's cruel, Robert. That's very cruel.
supposedly somebody
sorry.
went in and CGI removed like the tattoo that he had on his head, like was whatever he had on there, like damaged or something. Somebody went in and created a new version where they CGI removed that from his forehead.
See, that kills me with movies right now. And I don't know if we were going to get into the topic of like what we've learned about filmmaking and everything, but
We sort of have at this point, but not really in the actual way we wanted to do it.
but this is the one gripe I really have about modern filmmaking that I've learned about over the years. Thankfully, it's not something I've had to personally deal with, but I can understand other people who have had to deal with this. The excessive use of CGI and how it bloats the budget of a film.
Mhm.
Like, there are just some things that you don't need to use it on. There are just some things that don't need to be digitally removed or digitally added or completely digital when you can use practical effects and it looks more realistic that way and more natural. It's just so overused. And this is part of the reason why I think the movie industry is really hurting, because there's so much reliance on it that, it becomes almost a leech, sucking the blood, sucking the money out of the budget.
I think it's so figured into the budget of most films now, though, that it's cheaper in some ways than practical effects. Not as many people, I think, you do practical effects anymore. And as you were saying, it's actually used in movies you wouldn't think CGI is used in. Just to do cleanup, to make someone look younger or look a little better or look a little thinner.
Oh, the
or
de-aging.
anything.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I heard
Everybody's
they
doing
use
that
real
now, by the
bullets
way.
in the movie Rust.
Oh,
Yeah, but then I think about some of the stuff it's been used on, like the de-aging, say, in The Irishman for De Niro's character.
Yeah.
How are you going to de-age his face and yet you see him walking in the movie and he's still hunched over like this?
in
Hey,
some
remember the
ways,
scene
Trevor
where he
was
kicked?
full of- Okay.
I'm sorry. I was gonna say, you remember the scene where he was kicking the hell out of the guy on the sidewalk, and he wasn't walking around like a 20-year-old man. He's walking around like a 60-year-old man who could barely move.
Yeah.
Like, if I kick too hard, I'm gonna fall on my ass and break my hip.
Where was the
President-
CGI to make De Niro upright?
Well, he's got to be like 84, 85 years old, I think, at this point. Something like that.
Not that
Yeah.
old. He's up there in age, but he's not that old.
Yeah.
Oh, and one of the biggest offenders that is almost like a gaffe at this point, when they had to remove the mustache from Henry Cavill, his Superman character, and that cleft lip thing that was going on with him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was just freakish.
That was, yeah.
I think.
I mean-
that's when
Go
CGI goes a little too far. Well, don't use CGI when you can't do it well. We haven't really gone to the Matrix this week, but
We'll do that.
Well,
next-
that
This
would
is-
definitely be coming, I'm sure.
I
next-
want
next
to touch
week.
one little thing. They put up a promo because I guess they were using Unreal Engine to do a lot of the special effects within the Matrix. So they're like, look how realistic everything looks in Unreal Engine. And I'm like watching the video and going, nothing in there looks realistic at all.
Well, no, it's
It
not
is,
so much
it
that they were
is.
using it for the movie. It's that they have a tie-in game that's coming out.
That doesn't
And
surprise
that's
me.
when they use the Unreal Engine 5. And it's getting to the point where you're getting out of the uncanny valley and you'll end up going to be able to make a whole movie out of CG rather than need live actors.
But they haven't really got to it yet.
No.
They're close. They're very, very close. but the imperfections can still be noticeable. And even in this, where they're like, look how realistic it is. It's like, no, you can tell what's CGI and what's not. It's not as bad as the Matrix Reloaded from 20 years ago with that entire fight scene with Nero's just like a ball of putty running around beating up Andersons.
A ball of putty.
But, watch it again. He morphs into like putty. Like.
By the way, I want to point out as we got to wrap this up that JT just hit puberty on that line. Watch it again.
Hey, how are you doing?
Dun 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 dun.
Today I'm a man.
Dun, dun.
Boy, we're having a lot of fun on this show.
God, I
today.
love this show so much. It is so much easier for me to do this than any other stuff I got to do, man. I swear to God. But but we got to start wrapping this up. Thank you. I want to give you guys a roundtable quick. If you got a couple minutes, any final thoughts, ideas, comments, compliments, or complaints.
Well, we'll start with Robert since we started with him.
Yeah,
please don't talk over each other right now. Just be polite. Bob.
Yeah, personally. Yep.
Cool.
Go ahead, Ryan.
What is
Ryan?
Giving you the platform. Oh, maybe you have like an acting gig going on before the end of the year. Or that's something you wanted to talk up.
No, actually, I'm open.
All right.
Anybody want to hire me?
We'll work for pizza.
There you go.
I'll take credit, sure.
IMDb
No, the
credit,
card, not IMDb.
IMDb credit, travel, and pizza.
There you go.
Well, you get one of those three with us. So, and when I get around to it, right? JT, anything else from you?
I'm spent.
Okay, so we're gonna have to pretty much wrap this up. I think ASAP-ish. So,
Well, we should also mention that those watching right now, if you have been following around on Hawkeye on Disney Plus, we will be doing episode 5, which supposedly is going to break the internet, as they say.
Yes.
Whether or not it will tie into Spider-Man, which comes out this week, there's been lots of speculation. So if you aren't watching it at like 8 a.m. and you want to watch it along with us when we've actually gone off work and we're at a normal time frame, we will be doing that at 8 p.m. right Eastern time.
8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah, we'll be starting to watch that, and of course, we'll get into discussion afterwards about what this may mean for Spider-Man, since none of us have seen it yet, and what it means for the potential end coming next week.
Yes, on the same day that Matrix Regurgitation comes out.
Right, and obviously, but I think it's safe to say that considering Christmas is next weekend, this next episode on the following Tuesday from this, I don't know, are we doing a Christmas episode?
Next week can kind of half be a Christmas episode. I figure I want to do Matrix and Christmas. I do have some ideas as far as what I want to do for Christmas. I'll talk to you guys off camera about that.
Okay, so if bring your Santa hats or hoodies or whatever you have, and
It's a big musical number.
I've been wearing a Santa
Steven
hoodie
Spielberg
for
will
all the
direct.
Hawkeye stuff, so that's me.
But, all right, we got to wrap this up. So we just got the alert from that we got 1 minute left. So I'm gonna wrap this up. As always, you can find us. All right, cool. Voy, FYI, thank you.
Thank you, Spam. With that said,
you can always find us on Twitter at Filmset Tales and on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitch at Tales from the Film Set. For myself, I'm Scott Churchton, Mr. JT McGuire, Mr. Robert Leckington, and of course, Mr. Ryan O'Regan. This is Tales from the Film Set. Have a great day. And like I said, join us for the live stream tomorrow for Hawkeye episode 5. Have a good one.
Spider-Man week. What?